And that appears to conclude an hour and 40-some-odd minute speech by the president. It's the longest speech of its kind. President Trump moved through a flurry of the actions he's taken in the first 43 days of his administration: deportations, tariffs, ending environmental regulations, reinstating merit-based hiring, revoking diversity and inclusion measures. He blamed the Biden administration at several turns in a way that presidents don't usually in these kinds of speech. He praised Elon Musk and the efforts of his department. And I would say, just as a final note, he gave the speech to half the room, the Republican half tilting his body because the Democrats were having none of it. But as a final note, I'd note that while voters say that lowering prices is their key issue, it was arguably the thing that got him elected, he spent very little of the speech on that, and indeed, he devoted more direct attention and detail to the issue, to transgender issues, than he did to lowering consumer prices.
Right you are, John. Couple thoughts here. How'd you like to be Elissa Slotkin tonight? The Michigan senator is set to give the Democratic response. She's been waiting, I'm going to guess, impatiently, because she's going to go next, and it's going to be late and fewer people will see it. The divide in American politics on full display. 3 minutes after he declared that America is back, Democrats started booing and yelling, and that's when Congressman Al Green, Democrat of Texas, was then singled out as being too loud and out of order and unruly, and so the speaker ordered him removed. Just an unbelievable moment. I mean, you remember when Obama was speaking back in '08, and back then the congressman from South Carolina,
Joe Wilson
yelled out, "You lie," and we were all shocked by that. Tonight, Trump kept going, didn't miss a beat, and continued to list his laundry list of accomplishments. And as you say, John, he didn't say that much about the economy. You're going to have to wonder if that was a missed opportunity.
Face the Nation moderator Margaret Brennan is here. Margaret.
Well, John and Maurice, this really felt like a campaign rally speech, more slogan than substantive policy, even down to referring to Joe Biden as the worst president in history. You were very diplomatic, John, when you said words that you don't often hear in these chambers like that. These were very raucous lawmakers. The Democratic side thinly attended. You saw pink shirts. You saw signs up protesting Elon Musk, mentioning cuts to Medicaid. That's a reference to a fight in Congress they're about to have over spending and cuts to come. He also, in his speech, the president did ask on the economic front American farmers to bear with him, a reference there to the tariff fight that may escalate with China, Canada, and Mexico. He referred to the Afghanistan withdrawal that he negotiated by saying that he has gotten Pakistan to agree to send one of the terrorists who carried it out here. He had a number of announcements like that, calling people out in the audience, always the showman, and he did that here tonight. But he also, interestingly, made some policy announcements. He said he wants to repeal this bipartisan bill that has this massive investment in computer chips, things that have to do with competition with China. It was interesting that he chose in the chamber tonight to go there.
Wondering what it was like on the floor tonight. Scott MacFarlane, you are there. Give us a peek, Scott.
Yeah, Maurice, it was a horribly tense feeling in this chamber at moments. After Congressman Green of Houston was ejected, there was this loud, visceral, ugly screaming inside the chamber, directed at Mr. Green, then directed between both parties and each other. There was another moment when Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury of New Mexico was holding up a white sign that said, "This is not normal." A Republican snatched the paper from her hand and threw it across the room. And then there were the protests from some House Democrats. One after another, they walked out mid-speech. At some point, some of them turned their backs on the president, waited there a moment, then departed. Among those who left, Maxwell Frost of Florida, Jasmine Crockett of Texas, but also there were those empty seats that were so noticeable as the protest continued. And John, Maurice, and Margaret, first time I can remember a State of the Union where the minority party didn't stand once for anything.
Scott MacFarlane there reporting from the hall. It was also notable, Scott, since you've covered the January 6th prosecutions and also the fallout from it, that the president spoke at length about trusting and protecting law enforcement officers. He, of course, pardoning those in the January 6th attack on the Capitol that attacked officers as well.
He's about to walk out the door that those rioters tried to enter January 6, 2021. He's about to walk out that very door.
The president mentioned his predecessor a lot during the congressional address, and Weijia Jiang is at the White House. Weijia, this was as much of a campaign speech as you can have in that, or at least as we've ever seen in that venue.
Yeah, there were so many points, John, where he sounded like candidate Trump and not President Trump. It's one thing to lay the blame on the Biden administration to explain why we are in this situation with the economy. His advisors have been saying we've only been here for 6 weeks. But the real issue here is what he is going to do about it. And White House officials said that Trump would lay out a specific plan and talk about all the things that his team would be doing to bring down prices. But the things he talked about were things that were not new and things that require time. And we know that when it comes to economic policy, time is not on a president's side when people are expecting immediate relief. So he talked about domestic energy production. He talked about waste, fraud, and abuse. And he talked about dealing with the bird flu. But, John, he did not really answer what he's doing right now to bring down the prices.
Okay, Weijia Jiang at the White House, thank you. And coming up, the Democratic response to the president's address to Congress. You are watching CBS News.